Let's get back into the source code. Perfect. So let's add some code in the user service. So first thing first, we need to create one migration here. Go inside the migration directory, all right? And you can see here in the initialize one, the first one where we have created our user table. So here in this file where we have created our user table, we need to add two more fields, all right? One is our payment gateway ID. That is exactly, it's going to be helpful for retrieve the customer safeguard and default preferred payment method, right? And another one, it's going to be a temporary field that is called payment ID, which is we are going to use to retrieve the current payment is a kind of successful or failure. As you know, we are following the migration strategy, all right? So let's try to create one migration here. Create migration. Yeah, user table, update user table. Right. So here the SQL file has been created here inside somewhere. Yeah, this one. Okay. So first of all, add a couple of codes here. Perfect. So this piece of code exactly is going to be add two more columns that is called Stripe ID and the payment ID, right? So let's add some code in the down file as well as in order to remove the newly added changes, right? So once we are running the down file, right, migration down, then it should have to be delete that one. Okay. Perfect. So we have altered our user and we have dropped this two column, right? So now, if you go to the table plus, right, here, so as you can see here in the user table, we don't have any kind of the fields, right, which is called the payment ID and the Stripe ID. So let's try to run the migration. Okay, so maybe we have some syntax error. So let's try it out where exactly we have the syntax error. Okay, this is not add, this is called alter table. Perfect. So our migration is taken place, right? So if you go to the table plus, then you should supposed to see that the new field, right? Yeah, perfect. So our Stripe ID and the payment ID is added. Okay. Now go here in the app, all right? Inside the user service, inside the app directory. First of all, we need to change the model, right? Because if you can see in the user model, we don't have that two fields, right? So let's try to add those two fields. So first one will be Stripe ID. This is going to be optional. The second one will be our payment ID. Make sure these two fields are exactly identical, just like our migration. Okay. Let's try to confirm it from here. Stripe ID and payment ID. Perfect. Stripe ID and payment ID. That's cool. Now our model is ready, right? So now one thing we need to do here, let's go to handler, okay? So cart handler, there is nothing to change. Everything is perfect. But the order handler, we are going to add a couple of more codes, right? So now here in the order handler, this collect payment function is going to take care of initiating the call, right? This call. Initiate kind of auth call to the Stripe, right? Then once we are receiving the response of this call, right? Then we're sending back the response to our frontend. So frontend can build that specific payment form, right? So that is the thing exactly. It is going to be happen from here. But another also call is going to be needed once we are submitting our request to Stripe. Then Stripe will send back some kind of the response to our frontend. As an example, our payment has been completed or whatever the state exactly, it doesn't matter. But once the payment has been completed, then we need to make a confirmation call to user service. So make sure our order is successfully placed to our SNS topic. Right? So this call exactly, we need to add it here, right? So let's try to uncomment this one. We are not going to get orders from here, right? So I am going to remove this one and let's rename this one, which is called create order. Or maybe you can say the place order. Place order. Okay, so let's get rid of all these things from here. And let's go to the cart service for a while. Here in the collect payment, these are the things exactly we are going to perform right here inside the collect payment function, right? Rest of all, we are going to hand it over to a separate function, right? Because we cannot it is not possible to make it everything like from here unless you are getting the confirmation from your front end, right? So it can be also possible if we could have implemented the webhook, but we don't want to go with that flow, right? So let's try to do that. So here I'm going to I just want to get rid of all this function, right? So let's try to uncomment this one, and let's rename this one as a kind of plus order, right? Then this is like, okay. So now we are going to move all these codes from here to here, right? This one to here in this function, right? We're going to take care of later steps like payload and everything, right? And let's try to get this one here. Okay. So what are the things exactly we need to take care from the collect payment? Okay. So first of all, let's try to grab some information from our user. Okay. All right. So right before initialize the payment gateway, make sure we have some information regarding our user as well as, right? So this line we should have to use right here as well as, right? So let's try to copy all these things and make sure it shouldn't have to be complained. Perfect. So now here, let's grab our user. Okay. All right, so what we are going to do here, let's grab our Stripe ID and the payment ID. Payment ID is not required exactly, only the Stripe ID is needed here, right? Or maybe we can grab email, and phone as well as. Perfect. So these are the three informations exactly it's needed to initialize our payment gateway. Okay. So make sure we are grabbing our card item as well as for here, because we need to have a kind of proper calculation of how much money we are going to charge for that specific payment, right? That is also we need to pass to our payment gateway. So let's try to grab that. So here already we have we have added this call, right? Let's copy these things from here and add it here as well as, right? Let's go through all the card items and summarize the total amount, right? So in that case, all right, so what we did here, we are using reduced in order to get the total amount. So you can see like we are using the item price into item quantity. Okay, so how many numbers of the item we have, and specific item has how many numbers of the quantity, and it will be calculated totally, and it will give you the total numbers here. Okay, then what we need to do, another thing we need to grab, that is called const fp, right? That is also we will do a little quick, but in our case, as an example, provided like $2 just for kind of testing purpose, right? And const stripe p, right? That is, we can say 1.5, right? So these are the two utility functions we are going to build quickly. Okay, and after that, we need to have one more thing, that is called const amount as an example, $10, right? Perfect. So now we have application P and Stripe P and amount, total amount, and we need to provide everything to our payment gateway, which is going to be a form of just like this one plus app P plus Stripe P, right? Now this amount we need to pass to our payment gateway, right? So let's try to install our payment gateway library. Yarn add Stripe. Perfect. So let's go to utility directory. Here we need to create one more utility file that is called payment.ts, right? So right before adding some code, let's try to create one DTO, right? That is inside of the DTO directory. Create, that is called create. Perfect. So here in this create payment session input, we just kept the customer ID is kind of optional, because while a kind of new customer will come to the picture, all right, it cannot have a kind of customer ID, right? So that's why we are just keeping as a kind of optional, this one, right? Now let's go back here in the payment in this class, right? Inside the utility, the payment.ts file. Here, let's try to import our DTO. Let's go. So for implementing Stripe, we need two items, all right? First of all, the Stripe secret key, and another one is the Stripe publishable key. So let's try to create two constants here. Right? These are the two things we are grabbing, or we will be grabbed from our environment variable, right? Because already we have implemented the .env, right? In our here in serverless.yml file is .env. So we can just fairly create a kind of .env file and we can implement it here, right? So now let's try to create our Stripe object. That is going to be our perfect. So this is our Stripe object. Now we need to add a couple of more code, right? That is where we are going to create a session that is called then these are the two measure functions which is going to be needed in order to perform the whole payment operation, right? So right before adding some code, let's create two more helper functions which is going to be needed in order to calculate our application P and the Stripe P. Okay, so how the things gonna be work here? Let's try to add some code quickly. All right, so these are the two helper functions which is going to calculate our application P. So application P, you can put it right here. So in our case, we are just putting 1.5% per transaction based on the total amount, right? And right now it is calculating like, how much it would be like from 1.5% of this total amount, right? So maybe you can make only one helper function, that is also going to be helpful. But why we are just keeping it different way, maybe at any point we can change our application P, okay? And the Stripe P is, you just please refer to the documentation, because Stripe is charging per transaction certain amount of the percentage, right? And it is a kind of fixed cost that is called 29 cents. So it is their policy, like how they are charging the amount, right? So for more details, you can just go ahead to the documentation and make sure you are just calculating accordingly, right? So in our case, we are just calculating this way. Perfect. So now this is the time where we are going to put some code right here in this two functions. So let's move this two function helper function here on the above of this one, maybe above here. Perfect. So let's go to the Stripe dashboard, where I will show you where you can get this Stripe secret key and publishable key. If you don't have a kind of Stripe account, make sure like you need to apply for an account. Right, so this is my Stripe account, right? And you can see here, this one is the publishable key and this is our secret key, okay? So this is in a live mode, all right? So I'm gonna switch it back to the test mode, right? Or this is my test mode right now. And you can see the test mode secret key and publishable keys are both are different. So you can click on the copy from here, and secret key also you can copy from here, okay? Just click and copy it, and you can use it this way, okay? And make sure like once you are signing up to the Stripe, then you need to follow some kind of documentation and verify your identity. So that is the steps you need to follow. So on the time of the sign up, you will get everything. Okay. So right now we are having this publishable key and the secret key in our .env file as an example. So let's go here. We're going to create one .env file that is called new .env. And here, let's go to app again, and from the payment, let's copy this two key, .env file. right? So in my case, in the environment variable, so make sure this test mode is on and copy this publishable key and secret key and it plays right here. Perfect. So now whatever the secret key or something is needed from the Stripe side, we have everything, right? So let's go ahead and add some code in order to create the payment session. So first thing, we are going to deconstruct everything from here. And number one is like our email. Now, let's add some code and I will make you understand how we can create the payment session. So now what we did here in the create payment session. So first of all, we have deconstructed everything, all the create payment session input, and we are creating one current customer ID. We're checking it out. If it has a kind of valid customer ID, then retrieve it, all right? Then assign it here. And if it doesn't exist, then create one with the help of the email, right? Then assign it here once again, here, this one. So at least for our payment intent, we can initiate the payment by just like this way. Stripe payment intents and create by our customer ID, and this is our payment method that is going to be card, and you can add multiple payment methods supported by your country, okay? But profile we are just going with card only. And the amount can you see this amount exactly? It's passing from here, right? So amount, we need to make sure like you are converting all this amount stuff into cents, right? And currency, we are passing the USD, okay? You can assign the available currency also apart from your country. And once this is done, then we are returning back our client secret that is going to be needed to initiate the payment. And this is the payment ID exactly we are returning from here, right? Along with this publishable key and the customer ID that is going to be essential for our front end. Cool. Then let's go ahead and add some code to retrieve payment as well as. This is cool. So you can just directly return from here as well as. So here in the retrieve payment, we are simply retrieving the payment by payment ID. Right. So it says like Stripe payment intents retrieve the payment ID. Okay, that's all. So I think this is all exactly we are adding to make the payment, right? First of all, we are application P, we are just calculating. Then we are finding out the Stripe P. Oh, this is cents, it's plural. Okay. Then after that, we are just creating our Stripe object, right? Based on this Stripe object is created based on our secret key. Okay. And we are creating our payment session by collecting our create payment session input, right? Where we are creating our customer, then we are creating our payment intent, right? So make sure like our front end can search the card by sending all the parameters to Stripe. Okay. Now let's try to implement all these things right here in the card service. Okay. So where we are here in the collect payment. Okay, so instead of this app P, what we are going to do, we are going to implement that application P, right? This one. So make sure import is correct. Okay, this is going to be like this one. All right, this one. So this is our user repository. This is our utility, all right, which is we have implemented here, application P and Stripe P as well as. Stripe P. Cool. Now let's go to here in the application P. We need to pass to something that is called the total amount, right? Let's provide the total amount. Total. And the same thing we are going to do for our Stripe P also. Stripe P. Total, right? And this amount exactly, it will be just like our total amount, right? Total amount plus application P and the Stripe P. So now let's initialize the payment gateway. const await create payment session, right? This is coming from here. Yes, create payment session, and a couple of things we need to provide it here. The first thing is amount, right? This amount we are getting it from here. Then second thing, we need to provide our customer ID. Customer ID will be getting it from here. This is called Stripe ID. Yeah, Stripe ID, right? And third one is the email and phone. Let's try to provide it. Yeah, optional parameter always we are just keeping at last. Okay, so now it's perfect. We have the create payment session call here, and let's grab all the required parameters from here. That is going to be like our secret and publishable key, then customer ID and payment ID. Once this payment has been initialized, right, then make sure these are the two things exactly we need to update in our database as well. As if you can see in the database, these are the two fields we need to fill it from there, right? So make sure we are updating that one. In order to do that, we need to create one function in our user repository as well, as right? So let's go to user repository, and bottom of the file here, let's grab one of the update function from here. Yeah, this one we can just grab it. And we can rename this one. This is called update user payment. User payment. And here we can provide some kind of the data, right? So here we can use some kind of interface also, or maybe type also, but for only a couple of fields, maybe we can do something like this way also. So now let's try to update this stuff. Here, update user, set our Stripe ID. Stripe ID is first parameter, and second is going to be our payment ID. The second parameter, where our user ID will be our parameter 1, 2, 3, right? Now value will be something like that way also. Stripe ID, that is going to be our payment ID, and yeah, Stripe ID will be customer ID, right? And payment ID will be payment ID. Payment ID, and the last one will be user ID. Right, so once this is done, then it will be return the user model also, or while updating user payment. Perfect. So this is the function we are going to use while we are updating the payment, right? So where it is inside the collect payment, right after this, right after this. Perfect. So now once this is done, then make sure like we need to return this secret and publishable key to our front end as well, as right. So make sure this is we are returning from here. That is going to be like we are removing all this parameter stuff from here, and here inside this object, secret and publishable key. Perfect. So now our collect payment section is done. Now let's spin the server and make sure like everything is going very well. So here already I have added the front end code also. Okay, in the repository you can check it out from the description. That the front end code, you can find it right there. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to run the front end from here. So inside the front end code, right? Go to source directory, go here inside the util. There's a file that is called app constant. Okay. So you make sure you are assigning your customer service the endpoint here. As an example, localhost 4000. In our case, customer service is not yet run. So let's try to run the customer service. Yarn run dev. Yeah, it is running on the port 4000, right? Let's go to Postman And here I'm going to change the customer URL as well as, let's call this TP. And let's go for sign up because I have already removed all the data from my database. This data we are not going to return on the time of the sign up. So additionally, we are going to add some kind of additional data here as well as while we are logging in. So we'll be giving the username or email address or something. So at least while you are logging in from the front end, at least you can see your username in the right hand side corner. Okay. So let's try to use this token here. Copy and use it here. Right. So let's try to get our cards. We don't have any card. That's perfectly fine. Let's try to split this console. And here we are going to run our front end as well as, okay, this one. So cd. So, and yarn install. Now yarn start. Yeah, perfect. So our front end application is spinning up here. So click on the login. Now we need to enter our user ID password. So this is my user ID password. Click on the sign in. Now can you see we have successfully logged into the application, right? All right, so we can go to cart, but cart item is empty. Maybe you will get some kind of error if you go to the cart because I have not handled in the front end, but certainly once our things are done, then we will get back to the front end as well as. Let's go to the Postman and create a couple of cards here. Yeah, this item has been created. So let's go here in the front end application. So now if you go to the cart, then you can see it is giving some kind of error. So why exactly it is giving the error? Because the format it is expected by the front end, it is not exactly we are providing from our backend, right? So let's go to the user service and click on the get card. So this function we need to tweak a little bit. So here what we are going to do, right after this one, right? Here, first of all, we need to grab all the card items the way we did from here, the collect payment, right? This one. Let's grab everything from here till here. Yeah, right here. And so what we did here, so we have grabbed the card items and we are finding out the total amount, right? This is going to be our total amount, right? And this is going to be our app fee. And make sure like this one, we can keep it like this way also. And this is not going to be total, this is going to be total amount. Perfect. And finally, we are going to return not the result, right? We are going to return this one that is called the card items and total amount, and after that app fee. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and spin the server once again. So this line of code we can just remove it. This is not required. Okay. Now here in the Postman, if you're going to get the card from here, then you should supposed to see all this new stuff in terms of like card items has all this stuff. And this is our total amount, this is our app fee. Perfect. And here, if I click on the card, can you see? This is exactly it is showing right here. Okay. This is our item and this is our text and fee and this is our total amount. If I hit the plus order, if our integration is correct, then definitely it has to be returned the payment prompt. So let's try to do that. Click on the plus order. Can you see right now it is loading up our payment prompt, right? Where you can enter your card number and everything. Perfect. So now let's go back here in the user service. Here, what we are going to do, we are going to handle the right after the collect payment, the place order one, right? So here in the place order section, we will try to confirm the payment, right? So which is we are going to do like from this section exactly, from this call, right? So how we can do that? Let's try to verify the payment. How we can do that? And here we need to grab our payment ID, which is already been saved here. If you go to the table plus and if you refresh this one, right? Already we have initiated payment, right? So this is exactly this one. Now this payment ID, we are going to retrieve the payment just to make sure like the payment has been authorized successfully. Const payment info await retrieve payment, because this retrieve payment exactly coming from here, right? This is our session and this is our retrieve one. So now we need to provide the payment ID, that payment ID which is we have grabbed from our user profile. Now we will check whether if the payment info, the status is succeeded, right? Then you can add more status based on your payment stuff. As an example, some of the payment can be under process or waiting for authorization or something. All those status you can just provide it from here. As an example, in our case, we have just added succeeded, right? This succeeded. Right. Now here, if it is succeeded, right, then make sure we are sending this one, right? This SNS topic. And let's just log it here. Right. Then once this is done, right, then make sure you're sending some kind of response to our frontend as well as, right? As an example, this one, you can provide it here. Then this one is kind of like success and payment info. And otherwise, this is going to be like not success response. Perfect. So here, because this application we are running from our local host, all right? Anyway, we have tested this one on the publishing the SNS topic, all right? This is going through. So make sure we're just commenting out all these things from here, right? Then only we are interested if the payment has been succeeded, make sure like we are receiving this payment info. So that is we are going to test it out. Perfect. So here, let's try to close this one. From here in the handler, right? So right now we can see like this placeholder is not being used. Right, so let's try to use that. That is going to be like return card service. Yeah, this is going to be placeholder where event will be, we will pass the event, right? This placeholder has to be mapped with our serverless.yaml file as well as. So let's get down to here. Now here you can see in the right after end of this file, right before the plugin, here this function exactly is getting called, right? Which is called create order, or this is we have added as a kind of placeholder or something. Go to order handler, yes, placeholder, or maybe we can keep it create order or something, whatever exactly it is. It has to be meaningful. So let's try to use the placeholder here, and then go here, and this is going to be our placeholder. Okay, maybe placeholder. Perfect. Now let's give it a try from there. Okay, I'm gonna close the server, again run the server, right? My server is running right now. You can see we have total 125309. Okay, let's try to place the order, right? Let's try to inspect this one as well as, so at least we can keep track of our network call, right? And here I'm going to use some kind of the test card, so you can find it out the test card. What are the test cards are available in the Stripe documentation. So let's make sure like you are following that one. So in my case, I'm going to use a 424242, and expiry date will be 12/34. CPP will be 123. Okay, the country will be Germany. That's fine. And now place the order. Pay with Stripe. So it is processing the order. Can you see? It succeeded, right? So if you can see the logs, this confirm exactly as I presented in the earlier video, like payload is our card stuff and response is exactly the same, right? And can you see amount is our this one? And if you can see in the order call as well as, order says like something. Okay, so somehow we have not able to receive the payment ID. So that is we need to figure out like why exactly we are not be able to get it. Okay, but if you can see here in the Stripe dashboard, Yeah, can you see? This is the exact payment which is we have done, right? So first one, it was incompleted. That's fine because we have initiated that one and we have not completed, right? So that's why it is showing like this way. But second one, can you see? It was the correct exact payment, right? So if you go here, we have not deleted the card item, so at least still you can see the payment. And can you see 1253.09 cents, right? 1253.0, yeah, it's keeping like 08. That's fine. Like the calculation, whatever exactly it is grabbing out, that is we can check it out. But it's fine. So $1,253, it is just grabbing it right there. Perfect. So now you can see it is going through, right? The last thing only we need to tackle it, like why exactly this payment stuff it's not getting it out. Okay. So that is we can be sure from here. So console log payment ID. Right. All right. So now I get it because this payment ID exactly we are trying to get it from our get user profile, but can you see from here get user profile we are not exposing our payment ID and our customer ID, right? So let's try to expose that one. That is going to be our Stripe ID and our payment ID. Right. And now let's try to restart the application. Login and card and the same card item, the place order. Right. Now again, just to try to inspect this one from here, network, and right, 1234 123. Okay, let's clear all the logs and pay with Stripe. Perfect. So now our order is going through. Can you see? Right now it is giving the response. So the issue was we have not exposed to the SQL query. Those two fields we have not exposed from the SQL query. Now you can go ahead and give it a try because already we have been tested this one, right? It is going through, and you can just uncomment this one while you are deploying your application in AWS. So make sure your transaction service is reaching out correctly right after a successful payment. Perfect. So I hope you have enjoyed this video tutorial, and in the upcoming episode we are going to handle all these things with our transaction service so we can have a kind of better track of like the creating order, and eventually if you go to this page, all right? So right now we are not showing anything, right? So in this situation we are sending some kind of the email to our users, right? Or whoever exactly the buyer. And after that, if you click on these orders, then you're supposed to see the orders from our transaction service. So those are the things we are going to do. We are quite close to the end of this series, so a couple of more advanced things we need to cover. Upcoming couple of episodes, I'm gonna cover everything, right? And till that time, I used to say thank you for being with me. Yeah, enjoy your day. Bye-bye.